Hey guys, my name is Wyndon, and in today's video I will go over my top 5 ADC to get out of low elo. This video is made for bronze, silver, gold and even lower platinum ranks. So if you found yourself in this range, consider to watch this guide until the end, as I will name and explain in detail which ADC you should focus on playing if you want to get out of elo hell faster. One important note before we start. As the list goes on, we will go from the easiest to harder ADCs, and each one of them will improve your general game skills in a specific way. And let's start with my top 5, and it's Sivir. This girl has everything you need to start your climb out of low elo. Her kit is super simple and straightforward to learn. Ton of survivability with her E spell shield, which can absorb any incoming CC. And will definitely help you out surviving lane phase and late game team fights. Let's add to this one of the fastest wave clear among all the other AD carries. A lot of AoE damage from her Q and W, and perfect ultimate as engaging or escaping tool. And we will receive one of the easiest and safest ADCs to start your climb. As for the items, Sivir is super straightforward and has very little variety. You want to build her with crit items. Strongly recommended to start with Essence River to get more damage, mana on hit and cooldowns, which are perfect stats for us and allow us fast wave clear without mana issue. For the runes, you can choose between all three of these, depending on match you're facing. Press the attack is good in laning phase. Not only it gives you additional damage, but you can proc it almost instantly thanks to Sivir W. Although lethal tempo will give you the most in the late game team fights, and a fleet footwork will give you more mobility paired with survivability during laning phase. Okay, let's look what Sivir can offer to you in terms of special knowledge. As your first ADC, Sivir will give you basic understanding how ADC role works in general. She has standard auto attack range, relies both heavy on kiting and using abilities. She has also decent laning phase in most matchups, and very good scaling potential to carry late game by herself. Her ultimate gives a whole team a lot of movement speed for a short period of time. Playing Sivir, you will learn how and when to use this speed boost, at the same time learning to interact with your teammates and rely on them to become a single unstoppable unit in a team fights. Sivir will grant you all of ADC's fundamentals you need. The next champion I will go with is Ashe. Now, some of you might think she is not the best candidate for newer players because Ashe did not possess reliant escaping tools. Ashe has her personal slow mechanic, which allows you to slow enemies with your auto attacks and abilities. Playing as Ashe after Sivir, you will notice significant auto attack range boost to 600, which makes it easier to auto attack enemies without getting punched back from them. Ashe has an awesome laning phase, and she is one of the best anti-bully ADC and can punish low elo players super hard just with her slow. As for the build, Ashe is pretty flexible here. You usually build her with Blade, Rune King and Rune on Hurricane, then build crit items mixed with defensive ones. Or you can also start with crit items without Borg. IE will give you more flat damage, and Essence River will give you better cooldowns and mana pool, which is perfect to make her W, E and ultimate comes up faster and use them more frequently. For the runes is same for Sivir. You can choose one of these three, depends on matchup you face, but the best one is lethal tempo. It just gives way too much DPS in late game team fights. Arcane Comet and Essence River as a first item will make you keen in early game. Those of you guys who don't know, Ashe is a perfect harass tool in lane with her W, and you can play around that strategy, sacrificing your late game potential for early aggression. Pair it with aggressive support like Brand, Xerath or Vel'Koz, and you probably easily win 4 out of 5 laning phases. Just keep enemies poked and dead. Ashe is the champion when you really start to develop your ADC skills, like relying more on auto attacks, improving at kiting, and position yourself better in team fights due to no real escape tools. Your playstyle will be based around using your slow mechanic, which you will notice in time is your base escape tool. Your W will give you good harass in lane and used as a zone control versus enemy team in team fights. You will die less and get better at minimap and vision with your E. Ashe has a great laning phase and a decent late game potential. But the key part here is again your ultimate. It is a rare occasion for ADC to have such a strategic tools like Ashe, E and R. Your ultimate allows you to make solo kills, defend yourself from assassins, and what is more important, catch enemies off guard and guarantee the kill. In a low elo where players don't really know what they're doing and how to position themselves properly, you will learn to catch people off guard with your R, initiating big team fights and carry your games with a number advantage afterwards. Ashe will improve your ADC fundamentals and will teach you to think strategic in a team fight, relying more on your big abilities and zoning your enemies. So the next ADC I chose is Miss Fortune. Compared to previous two ADCs, Miss Fortune is a beast in terms of building the lane. After getting better at ADC fundamentals, with Miss Fortune you will focus on crushing your lane, making use of your Q ability to delete your opponents. Your W and E abilities not only give you a DPS boost, but also help out escape enemy ganks easier. Miss Fortune will teach you how to win lane phase, pressure enemies and snowball your lead without relying that much on peel from your support. As for the items, Miss Fortune is also flexible here. There are two main options to go for. You can go for Lethality build with Duskblade of Draktar and Youmuu's Ghostblade to make her Q and ultimate deleting people. Or choose most standard crit items build with AE or Essence River. The same for the runes. You can pair Lethality build with Dark Harvest or Arcane Comet to make her super lethal in the short trades but weak as DPS dealer. Or choose a more traditional way with Press the Attack or Lethal Tempo to get a reliant late game DPS in teamfights. Your playstyle is based around early aggression. You will get better at controlling your lane and snowballing your lead, with mastering her Q ability to crit into enemies' faces and making them tilt. Miss Fortune has underestimated late game potential. With huge early lead she can become a real powerhouse and end teamfights only by herself with her ultimate. Talking about that ultimate, you will teach yourself to position in teamfights accordingly to make the maximum AoE damage. You will also notice how easy she is when it comes for contesting objectives like Dragon or Baron. Miss Fortune will make you a bully king while laning and teach you how to advance with your lead even further. If you're the ball in your very soul, Miss Fortune will give you all the fundamentals how to win the lane and prepare yourself for higher elo bullies like Lucian, Caitlyn and Draven himself. Now, the second top easy ADC to play in low elo is Jhin. Now, before you freak out and might think that Jhin is high elo ADC, let me quickly explain why he's so good to abuse in low elo. You see, the secret lies behind his unique force shot and reload mechanic as his passive. One of the hardest mechanics you can master to become a better ADC is kiting and position yourself properly all the time in a teamfight. Every single ADC relies heavy on these, and usually, the longer the game goes on, the more attack speed items you get, and kiting and spacing yourself in teamfights becomes insanely intensive for most of ADCs, but not for the Jhin. Lower elo ADC players usually don't utilize all the potential they can get from their champion and the items they buy, but you know what? Forget about mechanics and all that stuff. Throw those clever words away and pick Jhin as ADC. This flexible freelancer does not need a lot of peel. He has a strong laning phase and can be hard bully dude in the right hands. In my opinion, Jhin's mechanic with 4 bullets makes him the easiest ADC in the game for low elo ADC to perform well in teamfights. You may ask why Jhin got the 4th place in this list if I keep saying he's that easy. The answer to this question also lies in his unique mechanic, which takes time to get used to. But also, the Jhin does not have a reliable quick escape tool, so be aware of that. As for the items and runes, Jhin is also pretty flexible. There is an option to go full lethality, which is the best if enemy team is squishy and makes Jhin super strong in the mid game. You can always use Arcane Comet for additional early harass or Dark Harvest for additional damage boost to finish your targets. And guys, why would you ever need to kite like other ADCs do, if you can 1 to 2 shot squishy champions on full build? Just saying. On the other hand, you can choose more traditional build with IE and Zeal items afterwards. Paired with a fleet footwork, you will receive a 700 movement speed unstoppable machine in teamfights with a tons of consistent damage. Playing Jhin is a bit tricky. He has good lane phase, a bit weaker mid game, and super powerful late game. The only problem is no reliant escape. Wait, or maybe he doesn't need one? If you look closer to your passive, you will notice that any additional attack speed converts into movement speed, which means you don't even need a Lucian dash as long as you keep yourself safe in teamfights and just hitting your enemies with autos, you'll be running faster than you think. Another great part about Jhin is his skill set. Try to get used to Bounce Grenade, it is very similar to Misfortune Q and can deal a ton of damage if used properly. You'll also learn to skill shot with his slow W and big range ultimate. Predict the enemy movement is one of the hardest game mechanic to master, so if you're hard stuck Ezreal, you might want to try out Jhin that will teach you landing those skill shots and get your overall mechanics to a new level. And the last, probably the most challenging but at the same time the most rewarded ADC to play in lower elo is Jinx. This champion is designed to be an every game hyper carry. Jinx has a weaker laning phase compared with the other ADCs in the list, but she has super strong late game potential and requires a lot of peel from the team to be extra efficient. Key part of this champion is hidden in her passive. When you kill or assist, you immediately activate your passive, which gives you an immense amount of movement and attack speed for a short period of time. The basic route for you in a teamfight is to find your first kill, and then it becomes easy to clean the house in a matter of seconds. For the items, Jinx is very straightforward. You want to build her with the same stuff almost every single game. That includes IE followed by 2 Zeal items and the defensive one on top. Ronan's Hurricane is the best item on Jinx, so do not swap it for another Zeal item if there is no real reason. For the rune, she is usually played with lethal tempo or fleet footwork. But honestly, you should always go for tempo, it has insane late game value for Jinx. Not gonna lie guys, Jinx is easy to learn but very hard to master at the same time. She's weak duelist and very squishy, and if you're brand new to ADC role, it might be hard for you to start right away with her. But at the same time, she's one of the strongest hyper carry in the game and one of the most rewarded one. She can shine bright in lower elo, where you can snowball easier and close the games only by yourself. With Jinx, you will certainly improve at the game. She will teach you how to maximize your damage output in teamfights. Using your Q as an attack speed boost while enemy close, or switch to the rocket form with additional range if enemy is far. She's more demanded for better kiting and positioning, especially during passive proc. That means Jinx will always test your skills. So this is it guys, here is my personal best champions to get out from low elo. Of course it was hard for me to choose between these, so before we end I want to mention the other ADCs that didn't make into the list. There are actually 3 of them here, and I'll quickly name and explain why they don't fit. Now for those bully carries out there, Draven Caitlyn didn't make into the list. The problem with those two is simple, they give the players way too many early game advantages that lower elo players won't even use. When you play Draven, you need to be Draven, you get it? This champion is designed for destroying laning phase and snowball out of control, but your actions in game and decisions got to be on point. Here's the problem, because in my experience, I have never seen a good Draven player who is lower than plat. Get those basics done and make sure you're ready to punish your opponents on lane if you want to main him. Same problem for Caitlyn, she's way too strong in early game, but if you don't punish enemies with your range or even die once, it is super hard to come back and be efficient in mid game. Third and the last candidate was Twitch, but he has close to weak laning phase, requires a ton of peel from his support and teammates, and has no real escaping tools whatsoever. And on top, his ultimate is very hard to pull off properly in teamfights. Yep, that's pretty much it guys. If you found this video useful, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. And I got a question for you guys. Do you agree or disagree with my top 5, or you have even easier candidates? Let me know in the comment section below. I'm looking forward to see your answers. Thank you for watching guys, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next one.